Hi, I'm Jenny from The Plot, and this is my allotment. Welcome to my lady garden. Just a quick one today. I haven't got too many jobs to do. I'm going to pick some peppers and I'm going to harvest the rest of the sweet corn to see if there's anything left. But other than that, I've not got a lot of time. So what I thought I'd do instead is have a little review of what's gone well this year and what hasn't, and maybe think about some changes that I need to make for next year. And I'm going to plan some of those all-important winter jobs. Make myself a little checklist because I love a list. So let's start the greenhouse. I've been absolutely amazed with how well the chilies and the peppers have done this year. I can only put it down to watching everyone else do it on YouTube, especially Jason, Allotment of the Dead, because he is the chili king. Last year, I didn't get anywhere with chilies. Like, they didn't even come up for me. I kind of ignored them and forgot about them, and there was too much else to think about. So, yeah, it's been a massive improvement, and I'm going to do them in the greenhouse again next year. The only problem is, I don't know if you can see, but my greenhouse is completely falling apart. You probably know it's held up with gaffer tape and coat hangers. I need a new one. So that's going to be my first winter job, new greenhouse. Growing potatoes in bags has worked so much better for me this year than growing them in the ground last year. I did have a lot of wireworm issues last year, so it's been much better in the bags, and it saves me a lot of space. My only change that I'm going to make next year is I'm going to plant more early potatoes, because I only did one bag of them and they were delicious. So more of those. The flower planters at the back here, they have done really well, but the zinnias, which I absolutely love, have been a bit crowded out by these insane cosmos. So next year, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to grow sweet peas on this side, on the near side of these planters, and I'm going to grow them up some sort of structure, which I haven't quite figured out yet. But I thought if I could create like a wall of sweet peas, it might also provide a little bit of shade for when I'm sitting on the bench. I don't know if that will work, but we'll see. And then in front of the sweet peas on the other side, I'm going to have just zinnias, and the cosmos I'm going to do at home next year, because my home garden really needs something. It needs something, and the cosmos do really well, so that's the plan. Now, the permanent beds. The raspberries I'm happy with. Nothing ever came of the blueberries that I planted in that bed, by the way. Are we surprised? I might need a bit more experience before I attempt blueberries. And the rhubarb, they're both absolutely fine. I'm just going to leave them to do their thing. The asparagus I've been so thrilled with this year, because it came back and that was all I wanted. However, these supports, rubbish. As the ferns are getting bigger, they need better support, and those bamboo canes and bits of string have been there for 2 years now. So another winter job is build asparagus supports. This bed currently is full of green manure, but it did have my onions in it. I did slightly better this year. Growing from sets was definitely a good idea from my Uncle Eric. Thank you, Uncle Eric. But I've just agreed to have a go at Pete's Giant Onion Growing Challenge. So those are the Elsay onions grown from seed. Now I don't have grow lights, so I'm going to be a no lights a no lights grower. I mean, to be honest, if I can just get one to grow to a normal size, I'll be thrilled. But I'm following along. I'm going to follow Pete's instructions. You know, you never know. We'll see what happens. The brassica bed. Oh, the brassica bed. This has been the biggest sort of disaster this year. And it was because when I first put the plants in, they were pretty small, they were pretty tender, and I did not weigh the net down properly and it kept blowing off. And at the same time, because of the long, hot, dry period we had right at the beginning of the summer, some of the fields got harvested next to the allotments, and Welsh Brian tells me that that's where the flea beetle comes from. When they cut down the wheat or whatever it was, the flea beetle all came here to find new homes, and they found a lovely new home on all my brassicas. These are the surviving ones, which I'm quite pleased with, but I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get anything from them because they had such a setback. So next year, I'm going to weigh my brassica net down with as many rocks as I can find. That's the plan. And here we are at the root veg bed. We still have parsnips at one end and a couple of celeriac in the middle. The rest is empty. The green manure's not worked in that one because I harvested all the carrots, and the carrots were phenomenal. Much better than I expected. And I think it's because I followed my plot neighbour Mike's carrot planting advice. He says because we have quite heavy clay soil, he digs a trench, he waters the trench, he fills it with compost, and then he sows his carrot seed direct on top of that. And that's exactly what I did, and it worked a treat. So I'm going to be doing that again next year. I'm saving all the compost from my potato bags, the spent compost, because carrots don't need a lot of nutrition. So it doesn't matter if the compost's a little bit low in nutrients. And that's what I'm going to use in my carrot trenches next year. I feel like I'm just showing you a lot of empty beds here. But this is where the tomatoes were, and they were outstanding this year. I think everybody's been saying that the tomatoes have been really, really good this year because of all the hot weather. I'm going to be planting the tomatoes outside again next year, mainly because I only have so much space in my tiny little greenhouse, and I want that for my chilies and my peppers. So tomatoes are going to go outside again next year. I might think about building them a slightly sturdier structure. Oh, the sweet corn. For this, I have to thank Ali of My Rusty Garden. She sent me the seeds. They've been amazing. I've really failed last year at sweet corn. They got about 2 or 3 feet high, and I think there was about 2 edible cobs in the end. But this year, we've already had lots of cobs. I'm going to harvest the rest of them today. They've been a bit blown about by the wind, but it's been amazing. And the netting seems to have worked. So thank you to my husband as well for building me this incredible cage / sweet corn pollinating device. This bed is now Nasturtium City, but this was where I had my peas and beans growing. They did not do very well this year. Probably the heat, I don't know, but they did better last year in my veg bed at home. So that's where I'm going to grow my peas and beans next year. I'm going to take them back home, have them at home where I can keep an eye on them more regularly. And this is where my courgettes were. I've still got the Romanesco still trying to do something. They've done really well this year. I discovered that I really liked the yellow ones. Yeah, they were absolutely delicious. So I'm definitely going to be growing some more of those next year. And here's my lovely arch. It suffered a little bit in Storm Amy. I've got it reinforced on one side with the poles that had my bunting on them. I don't know, it's not really a permanent fix. I probably need to strengthen the arch. That would be a good winter job. Let's put that on the list. And my last job for winter is to do with the paths. Now I think you can see behind me there's a lot of grass and weeds growing in the paths, and it's been driving me a little bit mad actually. When I laid these paths, I laid down weed membrane, you know, the kind of fabricy weed membrane. I've got it lining the compost bin as well, and it's very fragile. It rips really easily, it shreds really easily, and the weeds are just popping up through it. It's much better actually at the back, the paths around the compost area and the bench, because under that I have the plastic kind of weed membrane, you know, the stuff that sort of shreds into long strands, that kind of stuff, but it's more plasticky, and it seems to suppress the weeds and stop them coming up a lot better than the fabricy kind. So my winter plan, and it feels like a massive task. My winter plan is to take up all the wood chip. Well, I might use it to mulch the beds actually. I know Stella does quite a lot of that. She mulches her beds with wood chip. So I'm going to take up the wood chip, rake it up, chuck it on the beds, pull up the weed fabric and lay down some of the plastic weed membrane instead. Then I'm going to have to hunt for more wood chip because we don't get it free at our site, and redo the paths. But I think it's worth doing. I think I'll feel so much happier once the paths are a little bit more under control, because they're a little bit wild at the moment. Right, let's add it to the list. So, I've got lots of winter jobs to keep me occupied. Some of them nicer than others, but I know they need doing. I think I will appreciate it come the spring if I've got nice weed-free paths, a sturdy arch, good support for my asparagus, and a new greenhouse. So wish me luck with that. What are your winter jobs going to be? What are you planning to do? Are you building? Are you changing things? Are you putting in new beds? Let me know in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.